That Kind of Guy by Mina V. Esguerra. The girl Julie never expected her hot former play boyfriend to propose marriage, but when he did, she turned him down for reasons even she couldn't figure out. Will she settle for a nice, safe guy instead, or will she let him find his way back into her carefully guarded heart?
That Kind of Guy.
By Mina V. Esguerra.
The second date was worse, if that was even possible. Dinner was at an Italian restaurant owned by one of Anton's friends. I didn't mind that he took the lead on the choice again, because I heard good things about the place anyway, and I wanted to try it. It was also a quick walk from work, and I knew the neighborhood well enough to make a quick getaway if I needed to. Halfway through probably the best ravioli I'd ever had, I saw something across the room that bothered me. I saw the girl that one of my closest friends was dating, and she was with another guy. It was definitely her. I wasn't just imagining it. When her dinner companion kind of nuzzled her neck, it became clear to me that it wasn't a casual meal. Now, see, this is the kind of thing I never wanted to see or find out because I knew exactly what I was going to do, and people never liked it. Anton kept taking trips from our table to speak to his friend and other friends, so I had time to slip out and give her a piece of my mind. Eventually, despite being away from our table half the time, Anton noticed that I seemed preoccupied.
Is the pasta that bad? Because we can have them do it again.
He offered, half joking. No, it's all right, I said. It's really good, yeah.
More wine?
No, I said quickly. Knowing that he'd probably be away for 5 minutes, once again I asked for a refill. I just needed to get something off my chest, and now I have. I should be okay.
I'm sorry, are you sick? Should I get you something, like, for a headache?
I wish that he would stay put, but I wasn't in the mood to be charming. If you found out that your friend's girlfriend was cheating on him, what would you do? Well, that got him to sit down.
I wouldn't say anything.
Well, what if your friend finds out anyway and he gets mad at you for not saying anything?
I usually let my friends make their own mistakes, and I get to sit back and laugh.
I'm not kidding, I said. Because I'm the type who would say something. I would tell her about her so he doesn't stay in the dark about something this important to him.
I'm assuming this has happened before?
Kind of. Not necessarily the cheating, but the saying something that someone doesn't want to hear, yes. The waiter refilled our glasses of water without needing Anton's intervention, which was apparently possible, and for that I was glad. He barely noticed the waiter as he searched my face, probably realizing I was taking this seriously.
So, you don't think that this kind of information is none of your business, and that two people in a relationship should figure out their issues themselves?
I shook my head. My loyalty is to my friend. If I know something, I'll say it.
Have you ever been in a relationship?
My heart sped up, defensive. No.
Interesting. Because couples tend to know when they're in trouble even before someone tells them, you know? Like, if you leave them alone long enough, things will happen according to nature.
I don't believe that. I said, then how do you explain how people get blindsided when their relationship ends? Because that happens a lot. He shrugged.
They live willingly in denial. You can't really keep a secret if you're as close as you're supposed to be in a relationship.
I've heard that you haven't been in one for a while, I said.
Maybe I don't want anyone messing with my secrets.
This fear of commitment by a 20-something male is so cliche. I'm not even talking about relationships. I asked you how you would show your loyalty to a friend. On principle, I would tell him if I knew anything that would affect his relationship because I don't want anyone lying to my friend.
I'm 30.
I'm going to my
And look, I don't mean to say that you're wrong. I actually like to have you watching out for me if this is how you are. I'm saying I'd probably mind my own business.
Instead of responding, I angrily gulped down my water. At the time, I pretty much ruled out any future with this guy. How could we last when we disagreed on something as fundamental to me as this? But whatever, I probably wasn't meant for Anton anyway. Later, he confessed this was when he started to like me. So what do I know about anything? He kept calling me. At the time, I didn't know why. We went out 2 more times, and each time felt like the worst date all over again. Our conversations were fine, and I was starting to get comfortable around him, but something was interrupting whatever mood I could have been in.
Are you okay?
Anton liked to ask, tapping my glass. I learned that that meant a refill, and whenever I said yes, he would just call the waiter. He wouldn't just call the waiter, he would get up and head to the bar himself, like he was entertaining me at his own place. Anton got away with it because he was a regular at every place he brought me to, and the owners and staff all knew him by name. This meant that every time he left the table, I got to tap my feet and check out the interior decor while he chatted with the inevitable friend that he was surprised to bump into. These friends, I would learn once he got back to me, could not be ignored. They were models, actors, athletes, business people. I recognized their last names even if I'd never seen their faces before. When he finally returned to me, I'd be deep in thought about something.
What are you thinking about?
He would say, as if he wanted to be included in the conversation I was having with myself. Well, your crowd is a bit more high profile than mine, was one of my answers.
You think? Nobody recognizes most of them.
He said this to make me feel better, but it wasn't as convincing as he thought it would be. When my friends get recognized, it's probably because we were somewhere college kids hang out. My crowd was mostly made up of teachers, and yeah, we got recognized a lot because we could only afford to hang out where students did. Not that that was the same thing. For 3 more dates this went on, each of them ending with a beso by the curb right before I got into my cab. On the way home that last time, still touching the cheek that his lips had brushed gently, I finally admitted it. This wasn't fun. Sure, Anton seemed like the happening guy, and he had all these happening friends. I'd spent 4 dinners always on the verge of getting to know someone interesting, and maybe he would prove to be that if he didn't act like such a social butterfly half the time. The next time he called and asked me out again, why did he even keep doing that? I said I was busy.
Every day? You're kidding.
Of course! Good thing you couldn't see me over the phone because my face was scrunched up in the awkward way it does when I lie. He paused and the sound of the techno-type music filled the silence. And then...
I'll go with you.
What? When?
Tomorrow. What time is it again?
You're kidding, it's too early!
What time is it?
I coughed. 4 a.m.
Not a problem. My night would just be ending. I'll see you, then we'll have breakfast, and then I'll head off to bed. Is that fine?
Why didn't he stop calling me? If not being available half a dozen times wasn't enough of a hint, so I finally said I couldn't possibly go out with him that night because I had Simbang Gabi earlier the next day. Only because I thought that an early morning Catholic Mass was the last thing he'd want to mess with. Fine. See you there, I said weakly. I immediately felt that I had to apologize to my great-grandmother. Oh, no, it's not a lie. If I actually do go tomorrow, I didn't just use Simbang Gabi as an excuse. I will actually go. My great-grandmother on my mother's side made sure that I attended every single day of the 9-day service that led up to Christmas. She passed away when I was 10, and with her went any obligation for me to wake up for the early morning Mass. Oh well, maybe she would be happy that I was going again. Just a few hours later, I was up at a crazy early hour and ready to meet Anton in church. It was true. He looked like he was at the end of a really long day, and I still had no idea what he was doing there.
I had an extra espresso right before I got here to make sure I don't fall asleep on you.
He said proudly, and a little too cheerfully. You didn't have to. You're probably so tired by now. He shrugged like it was nothing, like he attended early morning Mass all the time.
I am, but it doesn't matter. Whatever you have time for.
After Mass, we had a quick bibingka breakfast at the cafeteria next door, and I sent him home to sleep as the caffeine started to wear off. He quickly kissed my cheek and said,
Same time tomorrow, right?
On the 3rd day of Simbang Gabi, he sent me a message. Need to be at work early for a call tomorrow. Won't be able to join you for Mass. Thank God, I said. And with another apology to my Lola, skipped that Mass entirely and got a good night's sleep. That night he texted me again. See you at 4? So the next day, I went through the motions and again woke up for Mass bright and early. He was waiting for me, looking more refreshed than usual. I didn't strike up a conversation until Mass had ended and we were back out on the street. And then he said,
You're a fake.
What?
Faker.
Anton looked entirely pleased with himself. What are you talking about?
I was here yesterday. My morning call was canceled, but I didn't tell you. I thought I'd surprise you here at church. But you weren't here. So tell me, Julie Cristostomo, do you really go to Simbang Gabi every day, or is this all part of like a modern saint act that I'm supposed to like?
Shit! It was too early and I was too sleepy and I was a horrible liar. And seconds passed and I had nothing to say in defense of myself.
So what are you thinking about?
He said, all I could do was let out a little shriek and I instinctively grabbed his arm. No, you weren't supposed to come, I admitted, with much relief. I only said I had to go to Mass every day because I thought that it would get you to stop calling me, but you keep showing up.
Why do you want to get rid of me?
Do you really think this is working out? I was exasperated. It's been weeks and we barely know each other and your scene isn't really mine and I doubt that you really want to do what I want to do. I don't know, I thought it was obvious. It felt good to say that, to be honest, because Anton could be remarkably resilient when it came to the truth. He let it slide.
Well, how do we know that for sure when you've been faking?
I haven't been...
Yes, you have.
I shook my head and started laughing. Fine, maybe a little.
Okay, I'm sorry that our dates haven't been your thing. But you should have said something. If you're going to reject me because of something real, not some rule you invented you didn't tell me about.
All right then.
Ask me out this weekend and make sure we do something you want to do.
Fine.
And then you can find a good reason to reject me.
Why do you keep asking me out? He smiled.
I think you're going to be good for me. And I do want someone like you watching out for me. Is that wrong?
It wasn't. Right then, he kissed me on the mouth for the first time. It felt like a challenge, unlike anything I've been asked to do in the short time that I've been dating. I agreed, but sincerely thought it wouldn't last. I really did believe he would find me boring and eventually leave me.